Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new series on my channel. My name is Gironca and today I want to start the campaign of Strategic Command World War I. And for those of you who don't know anything about this game, don't you worry because it is relatively easy to get into, so you'll be able to follow along right from the first episode. I will be explaining a few key features here and there, obviously, but this is not meant to be a tutorial video to explain the game in its entirety, but I still think even if you've never seen this, you'll be fine. And for those of you who already know about this game, you may have already played it yourself, or you know Strategic Command World War II, you will obviously be quite familiar with the features itself. Now, I will be using a mod, the Blue Max mod version 1.2. I'll leave a link to it in the description, but it is mostly a graphical mod that changes the map as well as the unit counters, but I'll show you in a second. So yeah, we're gonna hop into single player. We're gonna be playing the so-called, well, I call it the Grand Campaign. And before we do that, actually, I want to show you the victory conditions because this game has a set start date, obviously, and it also has a end date, which you can turn off, but I don't want to do that. So yeah, we have several victory conditions. You can either win a major victory or a minor victory. You can obviously also be defeated, or you can also have a stalemate, which happens if neither of these victory conditions are met, either by the Central Powers or the Entente. But yeah, I want to be playing as the Central Powers, which means Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottomans. And so our goal will be to capitulate two of the following three nations: France, Russia, and the UK. If we don't get to do that, then at the very least, at the end date, November 11th, 1918, we want to have Berlin, Vienna, and Constantinople, our three capitals, as well as Paris and Warsaw, under control. I think that is feasible. But at least we don't want to be defeated. Right. Now, I have already played the game on... I've actually a couple of hours in already, and I've played on a relatively low difficulty, and so I already know what to expect, but I'm going to make things a little bit more difficult for myself here. So we're going to go to veteran. We can also go to expert, but I'm not an expert yet. I am a veteran though. I do want to make some custom adjustments here, however, because I don't like the spotting bonus, which basically means the AI gets to ignore the fog of war one hex further than they would usually do, and this is not fun. So I'm gonna turn that off, but I will keep the experience, which means their units will fight much stronger. And to make up for the spotting that I've turned off, I'm going to give them more MPP, 20% more, which is actually quite an increase. And for those of you who don't know, MPP is basically the only mana that is in this game. With the military production points, that's what it's called, you do everything. Obviously you produce units, you reinforce, you upgrade, you do research, you do diplomacy, and sometimes there are events that will also have a MPP cost associated with them. So this is basically your entire currency that you have at your disposal. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention here is that obviously, you can play as two sides, the Central Powers and the Entente, and generally, you'll be playing as the entire alliance. But if we wanted to, we could turn off one or two of these nations, which will then be controlled by the AI, but that tends to be very chaotic, and so I don't actually want to do that. It might make a little bit more sense if you're playing as the Entente, because then you have so many nations to deal with, but as the Central Powers, I think I can handle it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get going. This is what I talked about earlier. The land counter style is changed by the mod. It has like the NATO style on the top right corner, but then it has like a more casual layout for someone like me who's not like a hardcore war gamer. So yeah, I can also show you the advanced settings, what I've changed. For example, those are mostly the regular settings. I have obviously I have not disabled the end game date, so we know when the game will end. We have to win by then. We can always change these later, by the way. So during the campaign, we can make adjustments if we want to. Plus, we could technically even change sides if we wanted to. I don't think I will, but that is a possibility. One thing I did change is soft build limits, which means generally you have hard limits where you can only build so many divisions or corps or whatever, so many units. And now we can build over the limit, but the cost will increase, which I think is a better way to do this. Okay, so yeah, anyways, without further ado, I've said that twice now, we're gonna go ahead and into the game. And yeah, as I said, the game actually does a great job of helping you out in the beginning, kind of guiding you through the first couple of turns, which with events that are usually titled strategic advice. You'll see one here pop up in a second. Yeah, just as I mentioned. And yeah, it will tell you. And I've read most of them, but I'm going to read them out again for you guys and just to get into the mood. So yeah, deploy your armies for victory. Most of our army is now mobilized, but some units remain to be deployed. Some options on deploying these are to deploy them to strike hard in the west, to strengthen our forces in the east, or to deploy them in the south and send them to take part in the conquest of Serbia. Choose wisely, because this is probably the most important decision you will have to make in the coming conflict. And yeah, if we select auto deploy, then these units will be placed within the vicinity of their historical starting points. Now, these are the units that we can deploy. These are only German units. Most of our German units are already deployed, as you can see here. But we have one more headquarter, and then an artillery, 2 cavalry divisions or corps, and 2 regular corps that we can deploy. And as you can see here, some of them have some experience already. So these units will fight stronger, and from difficulty, all enemy units will have this experience as well. So the enemy units will actually be just as strong as our experienced units here, but that's fine. Now, I'm going to just press OK here so I can show you the map real quick. We can now technically deploy this headquarter anywhere here in these green hexes, but I'm not going to be doing this because generally I want to go the historical route here. And the reason being that this game is more a historical simulator, a World War I simulator, rather than a sandbox game. So it's specifically compared to Hearts of Iron, which is, more a sandbox game for World War II, where you can technically win and conquer the world as Tanutuva. This will not be possible in this game. Now, first of all, that would be because Tanutuva isn't in the game, but also because you can only play the major nations, and even then, a full-on conquest is very unlikely to work. And so, with that in mind, with the more historical, outlook of this game, I also want to be historical here, and I actually want to try out the Schlieffen plan, which was the German plan to crush France by going through the Ardennes Mountains here in Belgium. And so we're likely going to cancel here and auto deploy our troops here in the west, and we're not going to focus them on the east, even though historically I know that probably would have been the better approach, but that's just how it is. I want to go the historical route here and see what we can do. Now, right here in the beginning, we actually have some advice for Austria-Hungary as well. Our immediate priorities: a successful advance into Serbia, seizing Belgrade and Niš, will encourage Bulgaria to enter the war on our side, but we must also hold our eastern frontier, for Russian advances may entice Romania into entering the war against us. Romania is an important food source, so war with that country could also lead to hunger and low morale at home. We must therefore advance into Serbia while also holding our eastern frontier as securely as possible. So yeah, obviously we control 3 nations. We control Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottomans, who are not at war yet. You'll see that down here, the war readiness. So Germany and Austria-Hungary at 100%, which means they are in the war and they're good to go, basically. But the Ottomans, they're only at 20%. It will take them some time, several turns, until they be able to join. And then there's minor nations, such as Romania or Bulgaria that could join in on the war as well. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Speaking of other nations joining in, we have got some more strategic advice for Germany here. Delaying conflict with the UK. Violating the neutrality of Belgium, the Netherlands, or Denmark will automatically bring the British into the war, and that is basically what we're gonna do. So technically, we could try and delay Britain's war entry, but I want to go the historical route here, and so this doesn't really matter that much to us. However, the importance of the Netherlands. Imperial Germany's war economy relies on goods imported from the neutral Netherlands. It is therefore vital that we keep the Dutch friendly to us, using diplomacy if necessary, as it is solely due to her friendly, neutral status that she can import goods that would otherwise be deprived to us. If the Netherlands were to enter the war on either side, even on our side, or swing towards favoring the Entente, then we would lose these vital imports, and our people could face food shortages. And this, interestingly, is being told to us by our Chief of the General Staff, Helmut von Moltke. But yeah, so now we talked all about the diplomacy here. Let me quickly show you. So these are the nations that we currently have on our side, Germany, Austria-Hungary. And we can use some of our military PowerPoints here to invest in diplomacy and swing certain nations to our side. Now you'll see that, for example, Bulgaria is already at 30% on our side. Denmark is on our side, but only at 0%. And the Netherlands are 25% on our side. And you also see that some of the nations like Egypt or Canada are 100% on the Entente. Now, there's a difference here between major nations and minor nations. So, for example, obviously, these three nations are the Central Power major nations, and then the UK, Italy, France, Russia, Serbia, and the United States, as well as Italy, those are the major nations for the Entente. And we can influence them. For example, we could influence the United States here, but we can never swing the United States to join our side of the war. That is not possible. We can only delay the United States from joining the Entente. That is very much possible, but they can never join our side. Same with the Ottomans. The Ottomans can be, like the British can do certain things to delay them from joining our side, but the Ottomans will never join the Entente. That's just hard-coded into the game, and I actually like that. However, some of these minor nations, for example, the Netherlands or Norway or Persia, they can completely be changed. They can actually join our side, they could join the enemy, they could just stay neutral, which is most likely course of action. And that, I think, is a really cool idea. But yeah, we're not going to do any of this right now, although I guess we could technically declare war on Belgium because I said that I would do that. So might as well do it here. And now that has certain effects. Yeah, the UK now immediately joined the Entente because we violated Belgium's neutrality. Now, by the way, we have to actually declare war. We cannot simply waltz into any nation. So as you can see here, the Netherlands are neutral. We would have to declare war on them first, but obviously that would be stupid because they actually like us right now. Yeah, we can also have a quick look at the war maps here, where we now see all these panzer icons shows the nations that we are at war with. Then we see nations that like us. They're blue, like Bulgaria, that likes us, but they're not yet in the war with us. And then we see fully neutral nations such as Spain or Persia. And then we see nations such as Portugal that are that are currently still not in the war, but they will likely support the Entente. So they have this red circle. Then there's also a strategy map, which just shows the icons of the troops. And we have the convoy map, which will be a little bit more interesting later on. But basically, this is where we can raid and we can do other fun stuff. But we'll check that out later in the game. For now, let's go ahead and deal with Belgium. There is a detachment here. You will see certain things. You will see their strength, which means, you know, how strong they are, how many men are in this detachment. There's detachments, there's corps, and then there's divisions. But divisions we usually don't deal with. So it's basically just corps and detachments. You'll see their supply, which is actually very low at 3 right here. You see the action points. They're completely surprised by our war, so they're not ready. They have no entrenchment, and strikes means how many attacks. they have left, and they are, yeah, you see their war or their battle readiness and their morale, which is actually currently quite low, and so we'll have a relatively good time of destroying them. But before we actually go ahead and attack, you'll see that the predicted outcome here will be we take 1 damage and the enemy takes 3 damage. But before we do that, we can actually do some things to reduce their war readiness or their battle readiness and their morale, because that will make them fight even worse. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to send our recon bomber in and, reconnoiter, I believe that is the right word, the area. And you can now see that the fog of war has been lifted in the surrounding provinces. Now, this is important because if there was a unit here and we would move into this province or into this field, we would have an ambush attack where we would lose tremendous amounts of strength. So that's why you always want to check out what's in the surroundings. And this is also why I reduced the AI spotting, because if I increase it or if I leave it at +1, the AI will basically never have to scout, and I don't like that. Anyway, so we've did that, and now this has been scouted, and now we can use our artillery over here and shoot. You'll see the artillery has some strength as well, so it's currently under strength. And it also has 2 shells, which means we can only shoot twice, but we can save up our shells up to 10. And there's some research that will help increase the speed at which we can get more shells. But yeah, for now, let's attack once, and you will see that the enemy readiness and morale actually drops. So it's now at 36 and 48, and now with the second shot, it will go down even further. The readiness has actually not been reduced, but the morale has. Now, later on, artillery gets more powerful, where we can actually reduce enemy entrenchment, but for now it doesn't matter because the units are not entrenched anyways. So yeah, it still shows 1 to 3, but yeah, anyway, we're still gonna attack and we'll see what we can do. Wow, so that was actually very good for us. We only took 1 damage, but we destroyed 4 units. So basically, when you see the prediction 1 to 3, the prediction can change by plus or -1 on either side. So it could have been that we take 2 damage and the enemy only takes 2 damage. So it could have been 2-2, or it could have been, 0-4. And for us, it happened to be 1 and 4, which was pretty good. Now, we're going to have to move another unit. And you want to generally move the units that are furthest away over here, because then we can, make the most amount of, I guess, land, or we can grab more territory, because especially in the beginning here, it's going to be very important to advance as quickly as possible. So yeah, we're going to advance here, and then you'll see that this unit has 1 experience as well, and this unit, it doesn't show that it has experience, but it has 2 experience bars. So if you look closely down here, it will have the regular bar that we have, and then it has 1 over here, which is from the difficulty. So it has no full experience from just being a unit, but it has 1 extra just from the difficulty. So yeah, right now it says that we will take 1 damage and the enemy will take 1 as well. We'll see. Maybe we can do this without taking any losses. Okay, unfortunately we're not lucky there, but we have destroyed the unit and we can now move into Liège, which is basically a fortification that you can see by these blue these blue triangles. This is a fortification which gives obviously fortification bonuses, but only if you're ready for war. So yeah, we've taken Liège, which is our first great success, and now we're going to move on further. We have 4 action points, so we can move up to here, and then we can still attack, which is really good. So we're going to do that, and it now says that this is a core and it has more strength, so it's a little bit more difficult. Plus, we are now not prepared. When we were here in Aachen, we actually had a prepared bonus, but we also had to cross a river. So, I guess we're in the same position now, though, since we have to cross a river as well. So we're going to attack, and let's see if we're going to get lucky again. We dealt 2 damage. So, see, now we didn't get as lucky because it said 1 to 2, and it was actually 2 to 2. But that's still okay. We're going to move with this unit, and you'll see there's a zone of control. And because of that, we won't be able to move up here. We can move up to here. Now, the kicker is that the zone of control will only be exerted if that unit has above 5 strength. So right now, our cavalry here cannot move to this province, right? But because of the zone of control. But if we move in here and hopefully deal 2 damage, then our cavalry will be able to move here and occupy this mine, which gives some military points per strength point. Anyway, we're going to attack, and we were successful. Unfortunately, again, took 2 damage, which is not too amazing. But now we can actually move here and occupy this resource. Now, you'll see that the strength of our cavalry corps here is actually 11 out of 10. And this is because this is a elite unit. And you can improve, or you can reinforce your units up to 10, and then if they still have experience left, you can improve them, or you can upgrade them even further, depending on how much experience they have. So technically, a unit could have 15, a strength of 15 if it has 5 experience, which is kind of amazing. But yeah, let's go ahead and attack here. Hopefully this time we're going to get more lucky. And, okay, we dealt 2 damage, and we didn't take anyone. We didn't take any damage here. That's nice. So we still have our 11 strength. You see, there's no enemies here, but we can't really move much further, which is kind of unfortunate. So now we're going to have to, yeah, be careful about how we move. We obviously, Paris is our objective, right? You see NM objective, this means national morale. This is shown right here. So UK has 99%, France has 100%, Italy is not in the war yet, Serbia has 100%, Russia has 100%, United States are not in the war yet. We have 99%. Now, you lose some national morale whenever you take damage, whenever some of your provinces are captured, and so on and so forth. But you also gain some morale. For example, when taking Paris, Germany would gain some morale, but you'll see that later on. So yeah, we want to get there, and how do we do that? Well, we can go all the way here. I think we have to. We have to advance as far as possible. So this seems good. Then you can only advance here. Right then. Let's do that. We also probably shouldn't forget about Luxembourg here. Because Luxembourg's at war with us as well, but they don't actually have any units, which is kind of hilarious to me. You could go to Luxembourg, but I want you here instead. Move up as fast or as far as possible. Then I think I'll have you take Luxembourg. We've taken this now, so they're going to be capitulating very soon. And then you, I want you to move up to Verdun and capture this mine, this French mine. Then we do have our own fortification here, a fortress. I'm going to probably leave a unit here. And then we have our headquarters here. They're important because they will give us extra supply, which is important because that makes our units fight better. Okay, well, first of all, let's check where our cavalry can go. Not perfect. You've pretty much moved as far as you can. You can move here. Okay. And you still have... We could technically attack, but as you can see, this would be very painful for us. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to entrench. And so I'm going to entrench in this direction, where we get a fortification bonus if attacked. So units from here, here, and here will have a more difficult time of attacking us, which is going to give us a great bonus. And then I think I'm actually going to move you out and over here, where we will entrench as well. And I think we're going to do the same thing. Well, let's see. We can move up here. Now, you'll see that we don't know what's going on in Belfort, right? So if I was to move in here, we would probably take damage. So I'm going to move in here first, then we scout, and now we can move in here safely. So we'll do that. Then we're going to go ahead and entrench as well. Here, unfortunately, we do not have an action point left, so I cannot entrench. I could still attack, but I don't want to because we would be too weak. I'm going to move you here so we can still entrench. So this line is secure. And then yeah, you'll be moving in here as well. Basically, the plan here is to just hold this region and throw all of our units over here so we can get to Paris quickly. That's the original plan. It's probably not going to go as well as I would like to. But yeah, we've got more divisions here. Our cavalry definitely needs to move up. Our cavalry obviously has a lot more action points, so they're a lot faster, which is good. Can you entrench? No, unfortunately you can't. Okay, yeah, so we have a bit of an issue that we can't move forward as far as I would like. We can move with our plane, although our plane and our artillery won't be able to do much for the next couple of turns. Our horsemen, yeah, we're kind of stuck here. We can't really do much. So we'll have to just move you guys up as far as possible. I will actually entrench back here, just in case someone breaks through. We are in a better position. And then I'm thinking, Prince Ruprecht. Okay, he has a rating of 7. He's actually relatively good. Crown Prince Wilhelm. Okay, we've got 2 princes here. Von Bülow, he's relatively terrible. Okay. I'm going to move you here. I'm going to move you here. And I'm going to move you here. To protect. Then you guys move up. You move up. And you move up as well. And then our cavalry... probably move here. And Duke, you can actually stay pretty much. Yeah, we'll have you move up like this. Perfect. Well, as good as it gets anyway. Alright, so this is what we could do here. Then we do have some more divisions here. We've got a reserve corps here. We've got our navy that we need to deal with as well. And our Marine Corps. But I think for this first episode, that was it. Usually, I want to do 1 turn per episode. This game obviously takes a long time. But in this very first episode, it would simply be too much. And so I'm going to take a break here and we'll get to the rest of the Central Powers in the next episode. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. And I'll see you guys then.